live from illegally parking. We are at the Fancy Theater tonight. Are you looking for the sunglasses again? We don't need them. We went to the Fancy Theater because we wanted to see a movie because college starts again soon. And so I recommended that we go see the movie A Ghost Story, directed and written by David Lowery. Probably seen some commercials for it on YouTube. And I want to preface this with something. It's just, I was very, very excited and interested to see this because the trailers were really interesting and just looked very much up my alley. Casey Affleck's one of my favorite actors. Rooney Mara is my favorite actress. And it's a good thing Rooney Mara was my favorite actress, because it would have been nigh excruciating if I had to watch literally any other human being on a planet, on this planet, eat a pie for fucking 10 minutes. I don't want to say
It sucked.
I don't want to say I don't want to say it sucked, because I think, the movie, it definitely was what it wanted to be, but it beats you over the head with what it is for the first half of it with, nothing. Halfway through the movie, the most dialogue that happens comes from one character who we never see again, who basically spouts off the themes of the movie, disappears, and then the second half of the movie is the best part because things actually happen. But even then, everything feels really disjointed and strange. And then the end was like the end of Interstellar, but
time travel or something?
Okay, but the time travel thing did not bother me because I got that, it's like the whole metaphysical, exploration of time and whatever. The problem I had was that this was done with such emotional detachment. I couldn't feel anything beyond dour misery. I don't feel like I got to know the characters any better, and I don't necessarily know that I was supposed to, but I came out feeling empty. I knew the message of the movie before I even saw it. I don't really feel like I got anything out of that experience. To throw this out of the way, it is a well-made film. It's beautifully shot. The music is fantastic. The acting is fine, but, there's 17 lines of dialogue in the whole movie. It's very much, it's kind of a Terrence Malick-y movie, and if you like Terrence Malick movies, you might like this, but I went in trying to, I didn't have any expectations other than I thought I was going to like it, but I don't know, it felt empty. I don't really feel like it was not communicative. It just felt hollow.
It came in one ear, it's gonna go out the other.
Honest to God, and I'm not fucking kidding about the Rooney Mara eating pie shit. We saw this movie, there was 5 other people in the theater, and the kids who were there before I was, that's what they were talking about when we left the theater. It's I should leave a movie like that, and I should not be able to say anything, and I should be able to be, profoundly moved by what happened. And this is funny, too, because this is getting good reviews from pretty much everybody. And, yeah. And what kills me is that there was a similar movie that came out earlier this year from the same studio, A24, It Comes at Night, which is different and slower paced and has a lot of different things that it does. It's kind of like this movie, but I really liked that movie because it felt like it had a point, and I got it. I feel like maybe if you reorganized this movie into, like, different sections, maybe it would be better. Like, I don't know why the montage at the end of Rooney Mara and Casey Affleck buying the house and then living there was not at the opening of the movie. Like, why did it take that long for us to see the two, like, main characters of the film? And they're they have these shots that last forever. And they don't need to last that long.
They just hold on something where nothing happens.
And look, I get it. If you want to be artful and you want to draw attention to something, you can have long shots. I like long shots. They let you pay attention to the, like, intricacies of something. But you don't need, like, you get it. Rooney Mara, like, and I'm not kidding. The shot doesn't fucking change with her. I seriously think if you, like, looked at a timeline of this in, like, iMovie, there's, like, a good 20th of this movie that's just Rooney Mara eating pie.
Like, there's literally a scene where she sits on the floor, and it's her eating a whole pie, and the shot doesn't ever fucking change. It's the same shot, and then when she eats the whole pie in one sitting, she just goes and throws up.
Yeah.
That's the scene.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, I get...
It reminded me of Crazy Fat Eiffel 2, that shot of plate.
Oh my god!
I can't believe I didn't think of that.
But, like, I get that the point there was supposed to be like, oh, she feels bad. And, you know, I'm a big purveyor of, you know, grief can manifest in different ways, but it's like, Rooney Mara fucking didn't have anything to work with in this fucking movie.
I didn't even realize that was who that was, because if I didn't read the casting, I would have walked in this car and said, whoever played the main lead other than Casey Affleck was terrible.
She wasn't terrible, it's just that she had nothing. Who could have made that role work?
She was just she looked so bored.
That's basically everything that happened. Like,
I was so bored in the first half of this movie.
Oh my god, I was waiting for something to, like, click.
Something happened.
I was just like, okay, maybe, like, and I get it. Like, don't be, like, the pretentious, like, I get it. The reason these scenes are so long is to change the dilution of time. It's so that, like, there's some very clever things this movie does. Like, when Rooney Mara keeps leaving the house and he keeps seeing it, but as, like, one thing, like, one continuous thing. Like, whenever the movie decides to be inventive and interesting, it is, but it is for, like, a minute.
Yeah.
And then nothing will happen.
One of the opening shots of the movie is, like, Rooney Mara, like, carrying, like, this really heavy suitcase or some shit to the curb. And it just, she walks back into the house, and then it just fucking holds on her house for, like, 20 seconds before it transitions to the title of the movie. I'm like, why?
It's slow paced, and it doesn't, like, you can make a slow movie like this, but it doesn't need to be this slow. Like, it feels excessive. It feels really indulgent in what it is. And it's like, fucking, how long was the movie? Like, geez, where did I... Oh, I'm looking for my phone. Do you have your phone? I need to, like, because... And like, there are some effective sequences, like, the sequences that have the song that Casey Affleck writes, those are good.
It started at 9:45, and it was like
we're trailers, we don't... And it's so weird, because I just don't understand why the director...
I was so confused, too, because, like, I didn't even realize that Casey Affleck was dead at first. Like, because...
Oh, yeah, and it holds on that one fucking shot of him dead, and then he gets up as the ghost. That shit happens for, like, 2 minutes.
It's like...
And you're sitting there, and you're like, that was an hour and 32 minutes. That's essential. That is a 90-minute movie. I could have sworn that was 2 hours.
It felt longer.
It felt very long.
Because, like... they're being, like, there's this scene of them just fucking at the beginning.
They weren't having sex, though. They were just, like, making out.
And then, like, it just cuts. He's dead. Like, that was so abrupt.
Well, I even find, like, okay, if it's abrupt, that's fine. But, and like, whenever something happened like that, I just didn't feel any, like, emotions being like, oh, he's dead. That's a shame.
Because, like, and I'm just looking at the body. I'm like, all there is like a small, tiny bump on the head. How did he die?
Well, it was in a car crash. We didn't see it. It was through the windshield. But, like, it just... I don't know what I'm supposed to take away from the movie. Like, I don't know what I was supposed to learn. I don't know what I was supposed to get attached to. And if the point was that I wasn't supposed to get attached to anything, then good fucking job. But it doesn't matter if, like, you could have made... I feel like you could have made this movie. Like, if you had all of the footage, and you edited it down tighter, and you made this movie, like, 10 minutes shorter, and you rearranged parts of it, it could be a really good movie. But it just feels... off.
This is probably a really weird thing to say, but when Casey Affleck first stood up with the sheet on, at first, I'm like, okay, why don't you just take the fucking sheet off? And then when it cuts to him walking, I'm just thinking, okay, why would the nurse not see that the sheet has eye holes and not think to throw it away? Oh,
he's a ghost.
Oh, God. Ghost. I think they needed a better ghost design too. It was basically a Scooby-Doo villain.
Yeah, but that's like the point because it's like the iconography, like whatever. But it's just fucking an 84 on Metacritic. I'm not saying that this movie is, like, garbage trash, because it's not. It's obviously artfully made, and it's got a purpose, and I get it. And, like, I really do.
And somehow, like, I know you said the time travel shit didn't bother you, but, like, it didn't really bother me. The only thing that bothered me was how he time traveled, by, like, jumping from the top of a building or something.
Well, the point is that it doesn't matter how he time travels. It's just that it happens. Like, it's supposed to be like some fifth dimensional, like, oh, he can just experience all time weirdly. And
then somehow that connects back to one of the first scenes in the movie where they wake up and heard a noise on the piano.
Well, I saw that coming from a mile away, honestly. Like, that happened in Interstellar, and I also was like, I don't know what it is, but I've called that twist twice in movies, where something happens where, like, a book flies off a shelf or a noise happens, and I'm like, is the main character time traveled back into this point in the movie? And I was exactly right both times. I'm like, what? How? That is so weird, movie.
And that weird scene where he just goes roar to the new family that moved in and just, like, destroys their
I guess it was, the point is that he's upset about, like, what he's experienced. Like, but that's the thing, is that it's so poorly, again, I feel like if you had just, like, don't even change anything. All the same people. Just take the movie and, like, just change it. And it could be something good. Or, like, a good short film. Or just, like, a good 25-minute movie.
Was the thing that he pulled out of the wall, the note the little girl put on the
No,
wall?
it was at the very beginning of the movie, she talks about leaving notes in places, because when she was a kid, she did that. And I guess that was the note he found. Finally reading it from her gave him some sort of closure, which is why he disappeared.
I thought that she hated that house, though, which implied that they just moved in. Why would she leave the note?
Well, it was when she was leaving.
Oh. And that other ghost next door, how the hell were they talking to each other?
Well, they weren't. That's another thing, too, is, like, I don't mind that because it's supposed to be esoteric and weird and not like those parts of the movie with time travel and ghosts, like, that's not supposed to make sense because our brains don't work that way. I get that. I just don't understand what it all is supposed to mean in the grand scheme of things. If it meant something, I wouldn't give a shit, because it would have made me feel more fulfilled, but there was no greater meaning to any of it. If you've seen the trailer, or if you just know anything about this movie, you know exactly what this movie is trying to do, exactly what it's trying to say, and it's just frustrating.
I'd probably give it like a 5, maybe a 4.
Yeah, I would too, because, like, it's well made, and I get it, but this is not, like, I'm not gonna watch this again because it's way too patience trying. Like, this is not a movie that will grow on me over time. And I hate that too, because this is the first movie I've seen all year where I didn't, like, actively dislike it. It just frustrated me because it could have been better. And this is the first movie to do that to me. Like, of all the movies that were gonna happen this year, and to frustrate me, or to me to, like, not fully love them, This one? Really? Fucking Spider-Man is amazing, and I see that twice in theaters, but this movie frustrates me and makes me sad. Oh god, all right, we're gonna eat pizza and be sad. Whatever.